There is some screen trickiness though, that's for sure.
Yeah, it has to do with some of the crazy graphical effects they got going on in this game.
Speaking of the level that happens in, I mean, this is the first game that didn't only take place in Dracula's castle in the Castlevania timeline.
Nope, it took place all over Europe. It starts at Dracula's castle.
It goes to Greece after that.
Greece. Then they went to Italy.
The Tower of Pisa.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's what they call it, but it kind of seems too big to be the Tower of Pisa. Whatever, I'll let it slide.
Yeah. It was altered by the Twilight Zone powers of Dracula.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. I'll buy that completely.
Then you go to Germany at a munitions factory.
I think you went to Versailles next.
No, Versailles was before London, which is the final stage.
Oh, okay, so Versailles is next to last. Why did I already forget that? Oh, whatever. But yeah, the Germans' munitions factory is really interesting because, you know, it's during World War I. Of course, they're building a bunch of bombs and stuff. And there, the skeletons all have little army helmets, which I thought was a nice touch.
I wish they had the little spikes on them, though.
Yeah, they really should have.
Then
Versailles.
Yeah, Versailles. And finally, London.
Well, it's like... It's a fictional castle, and I thought on the map it's like off the shore of England or something.
I think it is, yeah. I guess it's Dracula's castle, and it's floating out there.
What's it called? It starts with a P. I should have wrote this down. Proxima or something?
Something like that. It's in our footage. With all these stages we played, they're pretty interesting. They got some cool little effects in them, usually. What was your favorite stage, though?
I've been trying to think for a long time about what it is. I don't know. It might be Versailles, I think.
I really liked Versailles, yeah.
I liked all the hallways, and like there's the enemies in it are like so screwy a couple times that they're like, I don't know, it's just cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you'll start out and you'll see like these things swinging from vines hitting you, and you got to hit that.
Now I was not a fan of, but
no. There's these spores that drop off these giant roses, and they reverse your controls. And then you have like a circle of leaves that encases you, and it explodes, and that's the only time you see that.
Yeah, that happens a lot in this game too. They design whole enemies, use them once.
Yeah, it's keeps you on your toes though, because you never see like the same thing every time. Each stage has like different enemies and traps almost every time. Yeah,
there's like the Medusa that spits explosions. There's the Armor Knight that has a machine gun, I guess?
Machine gun.
Yeah, I've only once. It seems like they would have built a lot of those because they're very useful, but no, just once. That's one's enough.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
They've also got a mini knight on wheels.
Yeah, what is that?
I have no idea. It's like the weird bug things in the munitions factory, too. There's these weird exploding bugs.
And just rush down at you.
It's crazy.
But yeah, it shows there's a lot of like extra care put into this game, because in Castlevanias nowadays, and a lot of Castlevanias, they recolor enemies and they keep using old stuff, and like if you see an enemy once, you're going to see it 16 more times, and that's fine. I mean, that's what I expect from a game. That's why Bloodlines, like, as far as I'm concerned, went above and beyond. They designed a whole bunch of stuff that just went off. There's whole rooms that are just like, this. We're only going to use these assets right here. That's what this is for. And it pays off. The game is really rich. It's fun. It's varied.
Yeah, I think it edges out Castlevania 4 even on that a little bit. Castlevania 4 repeats a few of its tricks. I guess my favorite stage, though, is probably Greece. Probably because of all the cool graphical effects and stuff.
Greece is the runner-up for me. The water at the beginning is so cool.
Yep, and you got all the stuff like where you're hitting the statues and the heads roll.
Yeah, I remember the first time I got to that part, I was like, what do I do? And then you like chop the head off that massive statue. Whoa, badass!
Oh my god, there's sprite rotations and scalings and reflections.
Take that, Colossus of Rhodes, you bitch!
I did really like the final stage too, but it's a little too short compared to the others. It's mostly like a boss gauntlet, so I'm not gonna count it.
I mean, there's a bunch of bosses. Like, there's a boss, and then there's a boss where you fight other bosses, and then there's another boss.
The graphical effect on that one when you first start out were like the floors are like reflecting each other or something.
Yeah, everything's like got a split perspective.
It's a weird Kojima-like thing to do, to mess with your perception like that. But as far as I know, he was not involved in this game.
I don't know. I still say there could have been an elevator conversation or something.
Yeah, Kojima just told the guy next to him, just play with their perception. That gets him every time.
Look, we're working for Konami, goddammit. If we don't trick people unfairly, then we're not doing our jobs.
Nope.
Speaking of unfair, what's up with the Konami code in this game?
All right, yeah. The Konami code in this game is not helpful at all.
No.
It unlocks expert mode.
It's almost like they knew that people rely on the Konami codes. Oh, okay, I'm going to use the Konami code, I'm going to get 30 lives, or I'm going to be able to do something else, and maybe I can get through this game. No, it's just a big middle finger. It's like, no, here's expert mode. Good luck, sucker.
Oh, I haven't tried to play expert mode, but I assume it's like really hard.
I'm scared. I beat the game on easy. I'll just fess up right now. I couldn't beat it on normal.
I feel like this ties into my what I like to call the fuck you games from Konami to Sega. Back during the Master System and during the early period for the Genesis, Konami didn't do a lot of games for Sega, or any at all.
A lot of third-party developers didn't at the time. Nintendo had that unfair like restriction on third-party developers, but that's a whole nother topic. But
yeah, but I guess Sega finally convinced them to do some games for them, and Konami's like, oh, you want some games, huh? All right, and they give us this, where the Konami code basically screws you.
And I mean, the game's hard anyway.
And they give you Rocket Knight Adventures, which I feel is pretty difficult sometimes.
It looks like a kiddie game, but it's rough.
And then you have the worst offender of them all, Contra Hardcore,
which is just unfair.
It is. There's no Konami code in that game. There's no extra life exploits. There's nothing. You have no help.
And it's almost it boggles my mind, because it seems like they spend all this time making all these cool playable characters and bosses, and they just don't want you to see them because that game's impossible.
What's even worse is like
I'm sure we'll get a bunch of comments from people that are like, "That game's easy. You guys suck."
I guess I'm not claiming to be good at anything.
That's a good point.
Except Street Fighter.
Oh. All right, we're getting off topic.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to stages and stuff. How about soundtrack for this game?
Oh my gosh, I love it all. I've been listening to it recently, like on YouTube. I don't have a favorite track. I couldn't come up with one.
Yeah, I couldn't really so quickly either, but I like all of it, and it all fits really well.
Oh yeah, it does. I was reading something. I went back and tried to hear it, but I just don't know the soundtrack that they were talking about well enough. But I guess the third track, there's some stuff that sounds like stuff from Phantom of the Opera, and people thought that was pretty cool thematically, I guess. No.
I don't know about that. There's also, I think in the beginning of the game, there's a part where you go up some stairs and it plays, or is that at the end?
It's at the end, right? When you're going up to Dracula, it plays the old song.
Right, yeah. Okay.
I love that part. Was so cool. I laughed out loud when I was playing the game. I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, that was
pumped. Got me pumped to fight a Dracula.
There's no footage of me doing this, but when I heard that, I was thinking about Super Castlevania 4. There's a little trick where you jump off the stairs and you find a bunch of power-ups.
Did you try that?
I tried that and I just died. It didn't work that time. So, more evidence of this game being like, no, screw you guys.
There was a couple times when there's branching paths and Eric's supposed to go one way and John's supposed to go the other, and as Eric, I was like, I don't know what to do, and I just jumped into a pit because I wasn't John and I'm an idiot. Yeah,
I've done that too.
Speaking of the music in this game, though, it's done by the same composer who did a lot of the Castlevania stuff, I think. I think she did, like, this game and then, like, 2 out of 3 of the Castlevanias going forward.
Michiru Yamane?
Yeah.
I guess that's how you would say her name. I apologize.
Yamane, yeah. That sounds right. Looks right.
Yeah, she did she did a lot of soundtracks for Konami around that time. She did some work for Rocket Knight Adventures.
Actually, she did Rocket Knight Adventures, so it's some work for it, some work for Hardcore, and Bloodlines was all her. So she did all of your Fuck You trilogy.
She did. She also did the sequel for Rocket Knight, Sparkster on Super Nintendo, Symphony of the Night, which is her big one, I guess. And she's done pretty much all the Castlevanias after that too.
Did a bunch of Suikoden's as well.
And a lot of her recent work has been stuff like Skullgirls. She's contributed to that. Even Super Smash Brothers on Wii U. There's a couple of arranged tracks.
Yeah, she sat down and rearranged some stuff for him, which is pretty slick.
I'm tapped out on this. You got anything left?
Oh, a couple of little thematic things, like for instance, the fact that I don't know if this is the first game to do it or not, but it was one of the first. The beginning of the game is identical to Castlevania 1 and all Castlevanias after, because they started reusing the first room in Dracula's castle just to tie everything in together. Because when you first enter Dracula's castle, you're accepted in the same way, but then the castle gets all bonkers because of crazy vampire magic.
Yeah, that's...
But if you look at it, it's the same couple of rooms that were in the first game.
It pretty much is, actually.
And then, you know, there's the musical callbacks later in the game before you fight Dracula. It's I mean, they consider the game like a side story, but it does so well to tie into everything else. And then it eventually had a sequel on the DS, and you know, everyone's related to, I mean, Dracula's niece and Quincy Morris's son. And then I think John Morris's son is in Portrait of Ruin, right?
It's
something like
Jonathan Morris.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, the game ends up being really well connected, and it's good because there's so much work in the game. It's so great. It totally deserves to be.
I'd probably call this one of the best Genesis games you could get.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite Genesis games now, and it's definitely one of my favorite Castlevanias. Top 2 or 3.
Probably one of those, and one of the best 16-bit games you could probably play, period.
Yeah, this game was great. I was really embarrassed. I'd never really played it until now, for when we went to go do it for relevant stuff.
The stuff has run out for this one. We'll be back again soon with something else. We don't know yet. It's a surprise for everybody.
It's a surprise for everyone.
But thanks for tuning in, and come back again.
Yes, see you next time.